all-American boy. He looks like an all-American boy for sure. And he's just like a flower in bloom. He's at that perfect stage in which he is hermaphroditic. That is to say, he is neither all male or all female. Not that anybody is, of course. Everybody is some mixture of those two characteristics, but he is at the moment in that wonderful limbo between being a child and being an adolescent. That is, he is certainly an adolescent at this point, but he still has this kind of soft, feminine grace about him.
We knew he was kind of weird. Like, we was walking up, and Michael thought he knew him. He was coming through, he was walking at my house. And Michael thought he knew him, but he didn't. He said, well, y'all want to ride? We said, yeah. And so we started going up the hill.
Mike was 12, I believe, and Anthony 13 when I was driving along the road in West Virginia, and Mike flagged me down to give them a ride. And the wonderful thing about it was that there was no fuss at all. They both went out of their way to flirt in their own way with me, just with joyfulness. I mean, just to say, here's the play of life going on, and here is something that's not seen by others, but seen and appreciated by me and the people who are participating. We're having a little play together, a little game.
Were you ever in love?
No, because I don't think, I've never felt that I would be free to express any feelings that I had towards anybody.
I became sexually active when I was 8, but that was with younger boys. You know, the first boy that I went with was 7. At the time, we were best friends. And that went on for 2 years. I didn't have any relationships with an adult until I was 10.
I love them.
What is the in boys that you love?
I don't know. It's just I have all my life been attracted to younger boys. I go back from the time I was about 8 years old. I could say I wanted a little brother, and I've always just been interested in little boys.
I was flabbergasted like anybody else, but hearing this shocking type of ideas. And I investigated a little further, and I found out that lo and behold, this idea weren't that bad as they seemed to be from far away. And so, and then all of a sudden, all my childhood memory came back to me, and I saw myself doing those acts with other children, and I thought that they were decent acts. I thought they were wholesome acts. I certainly enjoy myself, and I thought we had lots of fun, and I thought of those times with fondness.
As far as what actually happened, I thought I was talking him into it, but later I discovered that he enjoyed it a lot more than I expected, because I had been convinced by people that kids that size aren't sexual. And myself, I really didn't have a lot of strong sexual feelings at 10. But this particular person enjoyed this quite a lot, it turned out.
How did it go? Well, I knew he was gay. He was one of my karate instructors, and I just got came on to him, and I knew what I was doing. I was fully aware of what I was doing. But I was very attracted to him at the time.
You felt you had the power in the relationship?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yeah, I felt very empowered by the relationship. I felt that I controlled the relationship. Which is a good thing for a kid, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that also, tends dispel the belief that that adults are always the ones in power in such relationships. I let him around. I was the one in power.
I'm definitely not out as far as being public about it. There are close friends of mine who know, people I've known for years and know me well know. But as far as being out with acquaintances and companions that I have on a daily basis, I'm definitely not.
What we do know is that nobody chooses their sexual orientation, that people discover what's appealing to them. They don't decide what's appealing to them. What they have more choice or decision about is how they deal with such desires, whether they pursue them or not, or try to inhibit them, or what their attitudes are towards them.
I've been picked up where I worked. I've been picked up on the street. I've been called up on the telephone and asked to come in.
How many times have you been in prison?
Huh?
How many times?
I've been in prison twice. Really, I just don't try. I try to avoid boys.
How do you do it?
Just avoid them.
And sometimes you can't?
Sometimes I can't, right. But pretty much I do. Just live by myself and to myself.
And you're willing to sit in jail for your passion?
I don't have a choice.
I hadn't done anything. I'd never done anything, but I'd always heard things on the news and everything saying that anybody who liked boys sexually would be a monster and would kill these kids or would do these horrible things, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stop myself from doing that, and so I had a war with myself for about 6 years. I went to therapy in many different places around the country, and finally I started realizing that they weren't being genuine with me. They really duped me. I was very well indoctrinated into the system.
I knew it was kind of risky that the FBI could have my name on a list or something, but the way I was getting so sick of the way things were going, it was worth the risk.
The North American Man-Boy Love Association was formed in 1979 as a support group for men who are sexually attracted to boys. Over the years, its membership grew from 24 to 1,500 members. During the day, Bob is a government lawyer. In the evenings, he manages the NAMBLA's national office.
The standard line is it's a political and educational organization. Most of what we do is print a bulletin. Bill Handels is the editor of the bulletin. This is for the person who handles the prisoner mailing. That is, we send out free subscriptions to those prisoners who are able to receive them, which is probably about half the people that want them. Most of the prisons in the West, for instance, won't take our bulletin, but they won't take any gay publication.
Substituted work with NAMBLA for actually seeking out relationships with boys or having relationships with boys. Being very active with NAMBLA and having sort of a public profile, it would be suicidal to actually have a sexual relationship, an illegal sexual relationship with a boy in this society right now.
This is a person who's writing us for about the third time. He's either desperate or very, very pushy. Dear NAMBLA, I wrote your organization earlier this month requesting information on purchasing videotapes, magazines, and other materials but all I got was political information, which is okay, but way too much, and information on novels, which would take 2 months before I'd even get them. I thought you wanted new members and supporters, and I also thought NAMBLA was supposed to help us boy lovers to get what we couldn't get in other places, materials. We have a standard letter that we send. Dear friend, please be advised that police and postal inspectors from this and other countries make a living by entrapping boy lovers who are desperate for the kind of materials you inquire about it, etc., etc. I mean, there's no other position we can take. It's difficult to know whether these inquirers are genuine or police agents or both. Probably there's a mixture, and a lot of them are just desperate and rather ignorant.
Yes,
I don't know if I could be able to do it with you.
Oh, Peter. So many of the boys for whom they were then in prison came to visit the prisoner who had supposedly molested them. Precisely. As an expression of their affection for the person with whom they had a loving and consensual relationship.
Thank you for taking that moral and beating it over the head into
the opportunity to stage orgies has not yet occurred. Mm-hmm. And probably NAMBLA won't be around when it becomes possible to do so.
This is the poet Allen Ginsberg.
Sweet boy, give me your ass. Let me kiss your face, lick your neck, touch your lips, tongue, tickle tongue end, nose to nose. Why? Question. Ever slept with a man before?
In Europe, since the late 50s, support groups for pedophiles have been popping up to actively fight the age of consent laws. The Dutch have established the most liberal consent laws in the world. The official age of consent in the Netherlands is 16, yet adults are not prosecuted for engaging in sexual relations with a child above the age of 12, as long as the child's parents and the social worker approve.
How many high schools are there around here?
Oh, there's Clinton, there's Bronx Science, and then beyond there is another high school, all within about 5-10 minutes walk of each other. This is very familiar. I moved here so that I would have a minimum of traveling time and could devote most of my time to work. Oh, this brings back memories. This seems to be a problem on whether sex education should occur in the schools, and somehow it's not a problem in other countries. When I taught in Scotland, it was part of the science course. I like teaching because I like boys. And as I said before, liking boys doesn't mean that you want to have sex with them. Okay, it's much broader than that.
I don't know, I kind of think it's a disgrace, but then again, we never know who else. I mean, we never know if other teachers are like KKK members and stuff. So, I mean, we don't know about their past, and just because we know about one, you know? So, I mean, I think it's his business, but still, it's kind of disgusting. He works in a school with kids, and he's like a child molester. But that's my opinion.
Don't you think it's a matter of concern to parents that someone who teaches their children would spend hours with them every day believes that what we consider child molesting should be legalized?
I'm busy. You're interrupting my routine. I'm going shopping. Thank you very much.
News 4 has learned that the Board of Education, the Inspector General's office, and even a former principal here at the Bronx High School of Science have known about Meltzer's NAMBLA affiliation.
But he shouldn't be teaching.
Why not?
Because he molested 12-years-olds.
How do you know?
They said it on TV.
Parents that
that someone who teaches their children, would spend hours with them every day, believes that what we consider child molestation...
If you cannot judge a person by what he does, when he does it, but only by his thoughts and by his private activities, then you can't hire anybody. There'll be no one left to do anything. Well, one can't be angry at that. One can only say that it's sad that that at least the current society's mentality is such that this kind of argument works.
The whole thing about Mr. Meltzer, it's much ado about nothing. It's a load of crap. He didn't do anything. He's not an active pedophile as far as we know, and there's really no point in persecuting him for it. If he believes in a concept, then you can't persecute him for that. That's in your head. Then we might as well start persecuting everyone else, you know, who has concepts we don't agree with.
Dear Mr. Meltzer, please be advised that effective immediately, you're not to enter the Bronx High School of Science until further notice. Should you have any questions relative to these instructions, this kind of notice really hurts. And when I can look out my window and see the school, and it's like Moses looking across to the promised land.
Leland has graduate degrees in law and philosophy. He has been a Mormon representative in Texas and a missionary in Hong Kong. In India, he photographed child pornography and was put in a California prison for 5 years. He is driving to his cabin retreat in the mountains of West Virginia.
Rachel, can I give you a little of this?
No.
Just a little bit.
No. Give them plenty of it.
What would you have for dinner, though? I mean, you better have some of this for your dinner, because we're...
He was a special friend, made friends with everybody.
This is true.
He took me to get my apples at the orchard, and we went on down to see the canaries, and then to see the birds, the ducks.
In general, there are lots of boys that precisely want to do that. That is what they want to do. They make it clear, and they simply do it. They don't. That is to give a blowjob. That's what to give head, as the saying goes. That's what they want to do, and they do it. That is, this boy simply did it in a magnificently gentle, tender sort of way, in which you could sense he was putting his whole heart and life into this experience. That is what was so exceptional about it, and it produced a remarkable sensation, and I may say a rather speedy climax, in spite of the fact that it was being done in such a gentle way.
What is the fantasy? What the thoughts come into your mind in such a time?
Curiously, the most powerful feelings that are evoked are religious feelings. I want to sing praises to the Almighty for having created anything so beautiful, so spectacularly wonderful. This is what is going on in me.
Anthony sat down next to me, and Leland was sitting there staring at Anthony. And that gave me the creeps. I mean, he was just staring, looking at him like he was a piece of meat, up and down, because Anthony just had a pair of shorts on.
He kept making excuses to pull up his shirt and show me his belly in a highly flirtatious way to any ordinary boy lover such as myself, a very exciting and appealing way.
Our 12-year-old boy went up and met him, and he shook his hand, and we didn't think anything of it, but Jacob had to pull his hand away before Leland released his grip. My feeling is that he was feeling Jacob out, you know, to see if Jacob was accepting to that kind of behavior.
He had picked up my son and a friend of his, and they were walking from my house to his friend's house, and he just picked them up, stopped, pulled over, asked them if they wanted a ride, and they accepted.
He's asking us questions like all kinds of stupid questions, and every time we'd say something to him, he'd take out a piece of paper and write it down.
Mike on one occasion and Anthony on another flirted with me, I thought, in a very flagrant but wonderful way. By flagrant, I mean they made it completely obvious that they were flirting in a sexual way or talking in a sexual way because this was their nature, because they were having a good time, because they understood that someone appreciated this aspect of their life, of their being.
This is so hard to talk about. I mean, the thought of him living and waiting, you know, for your child, waiting for you. Maybe what if you got mad at your kid because he did something, you know, you grounded him, you know? So here he is, he's feeling bad, and here comes along Leland Stevenson to go, oh, poor Michael, you know, and I think that's how they work. You know, they prey on these children and how they can stand up and tell people what they believe in and that there's nothing that you can do about it. I don't understand our judicial system, that's for sure.
There's another bakery down there. Italian Food Center, sandwiches and catering. Okay. A little bit, yeah, I'll certainly eat something. Well, there's, I don't see too much. Looks bakery-esque in there for sure. Is somebody gonna call you up?
Is that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Get up.
So what happened?
What? You made the phone ring.
Oh, you made the phone ring? Oh, well, let's see how you did that.
Oh, jeez. You're just text record. No, you can't get in trouble for doing that.
No.
Do this again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, not bad.
You answer it.
Hey, how can I get the secret?
Dial 660 and the extra number will better y'all. Cool.
660, and what's the rest of it?
The last 4 digits of that phone number.
Of that phone. 660 plus the last 4 digits of that phone, and that'll do it.
Yep. Yeah, but you
Very
can't
good.
give anybody out.
Oh, goodness, okay.
Do it to the phone.
That'll be our secret then.
No, that's on radio.
He was so eager to tell me when his birthday was, and he was going to be 15 in less than a month on the 1st of December, and This is what life is about. This is what real life is about. I would say that he was in bloom, and that's it. The flower is responding to warmth. That is, I as a human being am bathing him in a certain kind of celestial warmth, and he feels that, and he responds to that, and he thinks, oh, how nice, how wonderful that there's someone there who is appreciating what I am and who I am. So, with Jason, my first aim would be to get a feeling for his psychological space, which I may say I did. While I was talking to him, while I was with him, I was attempting to evaluate the degree to which he is neurotic.
Most of the persons that I've worked with who have offended against children, I didn't feel did this with any kind of malicious intent at all. I think some of them didn't see this developing. They were drawn into the relationships in ways they didn't recognize themselves. I saw others who genuinely fell in love with the child. It was really a romantic attachment. I think few of them behave this way simply for sexual activity.
I was walking along the beach on one occasion and met a boy in his early teens who was friendly, open, appealing, and who was very responsive to my friendship. That is, not only was his space open, he wanted it to be open. He wanted to share his life with me. So in the course of our friendship, we went on a camping trip arranged by him, in which the intent was to achieve intimacy. This was his idea. And in order to further this idea, he arranged that the sleeping bags would be zipped together so that there would be no barrier to the creation of this experience. Now, with appropriate affection and fondling and whatnot, we passed the night, and on awakening in the morning, he positioned himself in such a way that nature would take its course, and he would experience within himself a part of the body of his friend. And so, laying as he did on his side and producing the natural consequence of this event, I may say that this was sufficiently stimulating that no lubricant was required. That is, nature or life simply produced its own for this occasion. He experienced what he wanted to experience, and I certainly on that occasion experienced something that was very precious and fulfilling to me as well.
I'd probably kill him. Honest, I probably would, if he would have bothered my kids. That's why one of the reasons I wanted him away from here, because he wouldn't seek any help to stop this problem that he has. And if he would have got a hold of my kids, it wasn't any good to kill him or 100 of them then. So that's why I was trying to just kind of preventive medicine, you might say, to get him out of town now.
But whenever people started shooting at me or shooting at him with rifles around here, I told him he better get out of here before he got his killing done.
I had, of course, various kinds of threats of death. It seemed that the universe was saying it was time to move on, at least for a while. I'm eager to bring this back another day, another time.
In ancient Greece, it was common for mature men to mentor young boys, teaching them the arts or philosophy, while also engaging in sexual activity with them. Sexual games between students and teachers were said to enhance the bond between them and thus facilitate learning. In Sparta, military tradition dictated that soldiers bring their young boy trainees to practice and battle. A soldier's courage was thought to be strengthened by his desire to defend his young lover and be a role model. Presents were given as rewards to the heroes of Sparta and Thebes. In Sicily, on Mount Eris, in the sanctuary of Aphrodite, boys served as prostitutes in the temples. In Delphi, boys were made to dance in front of Apollo's temple. The Romans, while generally disapproving of homosexuality, considered boys to be sexual beings. Nero, emperor of Rome between 54 and 68 AD, derived so much pleasure from his relationship with Sporos, a 12-year-old boy, that he married him in a public wedding. Following Nero's suicide in 68 AD, Otho inherited the throne as well as the boy. Like the warriors of Sparta and Thebes, samurai warriors traveled and fought with their young apprentices. The young boys would learn the arts of sword fighting, horseback riding, and lovemaking. As late as the 1940s, the Itoro, Sambia, and Kaluli tribes of New Guinea practiced sex with children as a part of the traditional coming-of-age ceremony. Tribal elders were required to insert their semen into the youth's body. Semen was considered more potent than mother's milk and believed to enhance masculinity.
Say that apropos of the occasion, it has many fond memories associated with it in which boys have gotten to know the car and gotten to know me. To be here. We feel that historically we are part of this movement for liberation.
Unfortunately, I think that, well, being a survivor of sexual abuse, there's really kind of a thin line with power dynamics with older and younger people, but that doesn't mean that, you know, at age 5 I couldn't have made my own decision, or whatever, 12. I, Stormy Waltz, do pledge that it is okay for me to be on TV talking about what I didn't know.
If anybody looks at them and looks at us, then they'd have to say, well, it's all part of the rainbow, all part of the possibility of people living peacefully together, and that's what we're looking for.
But you understand that there isn't, that us or anybody else who's in this entire march today wants to have anything to do with those people back there.
We're not with those people. We're not with those people. We're not with those people.
We don't want to be connected
we
with
don't
those
want to be
people.
We don't want to be associated. I'm an incest survivor.
What do you think about it? Think the same?
These people are unfortunately borderline criminal behavior, and it is not representative of all of our community. They shouldn't be with us. They should be doing their own thing.
Everyone needs freedom of speech and freedom to be. As long as they don't act on what they believe, and that is to have sex with children, then they have a right to be here.
Okay, so what would you do about this, man?
What would I do about it? I think the best thing to do about it is just to watch you guys very carefully and ignore the fact that you have issues, because children are not yours.
So children are their own, are they
Children
not?
are their own, and they don't belong to you, and you don't need to have a campaign to get them.
Business comes first. Yeah. They think there's a buck out there.
They don't seem to understand that there's more bucks with straight people, more bucks in a straight person's pocket than there are gays, but just by the numbers.
Okay. Right now, I think we're at the very turning point. The homosexual revolution has gone to its peak, and now it's starting to take the curve down. They realize the importance of NAMBLA to their cause, because they're all dying of AIDS. They don't reproduce children, so they are forced to recruit children. And the best way of recruiting children is to have them broken in, as it were, by child molesters.
I don't know about you. That's pretty outrageous. But when I was growing up, if there was any man, adult, talking to a young child about having sex with him, that person wouldn't be in the neighborhood anymore.
Right.
I think that children should be treated in a different way in this society. I think that children are human beings that need respect, love, and recognition, and I think they should be able to develop the way which you want to develop as a human being, as their essence should develop. Okay, be developed. How do I make myself attractive to boys? Okay, I answered it by being yourself. You don't have to make yourself attractive to boys. You are just what you are, and boys react to you as another person would, and it's personal. It's nothing to do with age. It's nothing to do with you being attractive, trying to be attractive. Where are the boys? Boys are everywhere. You don't have. There's not one single place. There's the mall, the supermarket, the street, the sports event. You just have to be friends with boys. You don't have to think about sex, even just think about friendship, okay? If sex will come, fine. If it doesn't come, then you remain friend, okay?
Renetto is an Italian teacher. On his free time, he likes to paint.
you are so brave, why don't you answer the phone, Renato? We know you are there. Do not be afraid. Be brave. Are you afraid of us? You fucking pussy. You fucking wuss. You fucking baby fucker. Remember, you are a baby fucker. You are a sexual deviant. You are mentally disturbed. If this was a sane society, you would be shot. But since we're living in a perverse society, animals like you are allowed to exist. Leave the kids alone, Renato. Leave the kids alone. Baby rapers, baby rapers, baby rapers. NAMBLA, 222 East 10th Street, Renato Casio, come on out. You got any baby boys chasing a radiator up there? Come on, Renato, let him go. Renato, come on out. Let's check those babies.
I've never been a child molester in my life. I've never been arrested, trialed, or even indicted for any kind of crime. Not only sexual, but even parking, or parking the car. I've never been in any trouble with the law. And these slanderous things that I found home. When I came home, I found it. And it's, I'm not a child molester. I've never been a child molester. I will never be a child molester. And I'm against child molester, okay, because I'm a child lover, a boy lover, okay? And that love and molestation don't go together. I wish boys well things, good things, not horrors and not violence and not ugly things like such as this.
You see, my attitude is, I saw them as very pathetic, very sad when they came out of their meeting June 6th. And we have photos of them, and they were shamed. There were about 75 of us marching behind them, yelling out, baby rapers, and all the windows were lifting up, and they were passing by a schoolyard, which is a typical scene where they like to pick up children, and their heads were down, and they knew they got caught. They knew they were doing wrong, okay? I felt no anger for these people. I felt sad for these sick people. But, on the other hand, if ever I caught any of them in the act, if I was just, let's say, fortunate enough, I would take no prisoners. And that's a promise.
Renato, come on out! Show your faces, the neighborhood wants to meet you. We're gonna have a block party. Come on out!
It's like to ask to an heterosexual man, what does he find attractive in a woman? Or it's like saying somebody, you know, I like shortcake, strawberry shortcake. Why do you like a strawberry shortcake instead of an apple pie? It's very difficult. I don't know. I would try by saying that the freshness of their mind, the nimbleness of their bodies, the way in which they move, they act, the gracefulness of them.
My soul spirit being freed, because adults are so, they have to stay within their, you know, little norm and perfectness, and they never can show their enthusiasm for life. So I like to get out whenever I can and show my enthusiasm for life. I don't really want to go over to the the playground, because a lot of people there, a lot of mothers, all they need is one reason to say that if I touch this, if I don't even touch a kid, they can say that I touched this kid, and then I go to jail, I get arrested. So it's like, pure bullshit. I don't want to be around kids at all. That's the way it has to be. Happy boy. He's probably thinking about the erection that I'm getting right now. But it's he's not thinking about it, but he knows that it's going on, or maybe he's getting one. I don't know. Something like that.
Chuck is an artist. He feels there needs to be an alternative to NAMBLA's methods of doing things.
What does that look like down there?
Where?
Is this an illegal drawing or what? Oh my God. I'm drawing an illegal drawing. Oh no. Take a good close look there now. What is that down there? Oh my God. The horrid genitals. But they have a personality. I'd like to be able to have an orgy with young dudes and teenage guys and maybe older men with big beards and big hairy chests. Maybe they'll find it today or tomorrow, or maybe they'll find it 10 years from now. And maybe some of the people might even be interested in having a discussion, because a lot of the stuff is going to have my address on it. Footprints. I spy them there. I see them here, taking interest in those smallish, those I step in with care. Those smallish ones, the tracks of boys. Those footprints, like painted fingerprints. I step in, enjoy! Each time stepping, almost touch. Each time stepping, such footprints, ah, such footprints. I'm glad there still is something we far away can adore. Excuse me, sir. Can I give this to you by chance? It's towards a further dialogue. You can read about what it's about. Check it out, man. Yeah. They give a nice smile, don't they, right now? As soon as they find out what it is, and they go, oh, wait a minute, what is this crap?
They don't like adults to mess with kids.
Right.
Anything.
They don't think that kids can be consent, but in this society, you'll notice in this society that there's woman-boy love movies all over the place, and I can tell you a whole bunch of them if you ever heard Blame It on Rio.
Yeah, but grown-ups should leave kids alone and let them grow up and then decide.
Well, if you want to let kids be kids, then we should allow genuine, see, age is an abstract for one, and so is childhood, so it's all been constructed by society. Go for it. I love to just be with people and share life with people, and sexuality comes along as that comes along, but with kids it doesn't come along in this country. I'll never break the sex hysteria laws, because I will fight. I want to fight and stand up to the hysteria and do what I can in my life. If my life is short, I'd still want to be able to stand up and do what I feel is in my heart to do. Why is it that bad boy love movies aren't allowed in this society? I wonder. WNBC about putting NAMBLA down, they got all the power in the world.
An organization that advocates the sexual molestation of young boys. John Miller's here with details.
From this nondescript building, NAMBLA runs its listed telephone number and some of its mailing. On a Saturday in November, we watched as boxes and boxes of literature were loaded in...
The audience were calling and And in the majority, they actually were supportive. And some of them were also kids, 4 or 5 different kids, for 14, 15, 16 years of age, call in and express themselves. I didn't know at the beginning, I didn't know they were that young, but they expressed themselves with a way of saying that young people has, like, cool man, things like that. And when you're talking with the kids, and I would ask their age, I said, I'm 14, okay, good. And I think you are great. I think I like you. I like you. The show. And keep up, man. Keep up. Don't let them scare you.
Belief is everyone should have a belief worth dying for. If you don't have a belief worth dying for, then you don't believe in anything. And as far as I'm concerned, you're a coward, and I don't want you around me. And I really feel that most parents, without hesitation, will fight and die for their children. And when push comes to shove, homosexuals get tired of it. There'll be no incentive for someone else's children.
I just want to be able to walk down Fifth Avenue, okay, and see adults and children mingle together and go into a theater, go to a restaurant. I like to see children like they do in Egypt or another country.
People want to think of every pedophile as being like a Jeffrey Dahmer or John Wayne Gacy, and we're not. I mean, those are a few sick individuals that you see, on television, on the news, or whatever. But I mean, there's far less of them than there are, guys that are out there, hurting women.
I'm sort of a borderline egomaniac, you might say. I've done a lot of things in my life. I was able to maintain myself pretty well up until about 1.5 years or 2 years ago. And then I got into some problems and wasn't able to do what I had been doing. Basically what I was doing was a visually oriented activity. I don't even know if I should say. But basically I was doing something that I really, really did not want to be doing, which was looking at people through their windows.
What do you say to people who join because they want to meet boys?
Let's see. Can we go off camera here for a second?
Hold on, folks. You better buckle your seatbelt. If anybody is watching this film and they think to themselves that they have control of things because currently sex is suppressed and held to be dark and dreary and worthy of being suppressed, sorry, your day is over. You might not understand it, but I can tell you it's over, and the signs are present here and now. What's happened is that this sexophobia, this negativity, this hysteria, this witch hunt dealing with young people expressing their sexuality has been tightened down. It has been screwed so tightly that I can tell you something, young people, it's about to break. And when it breaks, it's going to break suddenly. Years have been